Good morning, everybody. It's finally looking like winter around here. It took until March for it to really look like winter, but we kind of needed some moisture, and it's here. Hopefully it soaks in and doesn't just go sideways. Over the weekend, so today is March 4th. Over the weekend, we had a Colorado low kind of come blowing through. We got hit pretty hard. We weren't dead center on it, but we got hit pretty good. At the same time, I think there was an Alberta clipper that hit up near Saskatoon, North Battleford. It looked like they got a lot more snow, and they kind of need it up that way. So it is what it is. I would say on average, we got about 6 inches of snow. Plowing through the yard here, you can see the underside of my diff is dragging in the snow. Yeah, we'll call that 6 or 7 inches, at least. It looks really cool, and on the P stubble across the way, I don't know why, but all the fields look like an ocean, just a bunch of waves here and there. So we ended up getting, it stopped snowing last night around shortly after supper time. There was a little sprinkle later, and then the wind got up again. Luckily, unlike the other Colorado lows, we're probably a month earlier than the other ones, or at least a month earlier than the other ones have been, and colder by about 10 degrees. Most of the time it was hovering around the -8 to -11 range, and then at night it would dip down a little bit. That's probably the reason we still have power, because last time it was right around zero the whole time. Everything got wet, got heavy, power poles got blown over, power lines got snapped, cross arms broke. Nothing good. So it stayed cold enough that it wasn't horrible. So I'm out here now. I got the T6.175 warming up. Got a bunch of snow, probably, I would guess most of an afternoon worth, to plow and push and dig and blow, and yeah. So we're gonna get everything dug out. Well, I'm headed back to the shop with my tail between my legs because I must have broken a shear pin or a chain. I'm not really sure. Not sure why. I wasn't even slogging it, so something's probably loose. Yeah, well, first shear pin of the year. That's usually something that happens in like November. So, easy fix. Threw a couple spare ones in the toolbox. I just put a grade 5 one on. I don't know if it's supposed to be 5 or 8, but we got 5. We're not going to do any damage that way. So this is really my first time doing any serious snow blowing with this guy. I've had a couple times where there's a little drift here, a little drift there that deal with. But this is our T6.175, and we bought it about a year ago because I thought the 4040 had cratered. Turns out its breather, its air filter was all iced up. A day, probably just a hair warmer than this, and just got all that mist off of the snowblower, but it was coming at me. But then the engine started knocking, and I just thought, oh well, and it was coughing up some fuel. Thought that's probably not a good thing. So when you compare this tractor, the T6.175, to the 4040 John Deere, there's no comparison what's a better tractor, and obviously there shouldn't be. That one's like a 1981, and this one's a 2016, I think. I don't even think that one's rated at 100. If it is rated at 100, it might be like 110 or 20 horsepower. This guy's really about 140, but it bulges to 175 on the turbo, so that's what they go off. But it's just all of the little stuff that make this such an awesome tractor for around the yard compared to that one. Now I know there's going to be ones out there that are better, like maybe they have a CVT transmission, or it'd be great to have the front 3-point hitch and PTO on this thing for moving snow. But boy, is this a major improvement. It's got the electronic 3-point hitch, which is really handy. With the click of a button, I go all the way up or all the way down. It's got about 3 times the height of travel on the 3-point hitch. The cab is quieter. It's got a good radio. It's got almost too much heat. I am cooking in here. And it's got 2 ranges instead of 4, and there's just so much less shifting, because the A gear or A range is what I needed in the 4040 to be going slow enough not to overload the blower. Well, then that's in reverse. Then to get going forward to the end, oh boy, you'd have to shift up to C and then back into 1, and there's a manual lever for the 3-point hitch. It was a lot of work. Ooh, that felt good. I've got the little sunroof open just to give me a little bit of air in here. I have to keep everything cranked. There's another feature we didn't have on the 40. Yeah, I don't remember there being a rear wiper. Not the best blade on it, but this guy has the power shift when I'm really, I'm getting towards the end now, where I've been blowing everything into the same track, so I'm having to go really slow. But it handles it so much nicer. It's a heavier tractor. It's got front wheel assist if needed. It's got a bigger bucket. It's got different bucket controls. And like here, let's turn you down. All I gotta do, I don't know if you can see, is this little button. I tap it. And up goes my 3-point hitch. Or if I want to play with it's just your standard, I think they call it an H pattern. And, shift up into my next range without hitting a clutch. I can hit a button here, or a button down here. I can shift here, or I can hit the clutch as well. It's just so much faster, because every time I go from backing up to going forward, I'd be having to stop, change ranges, select gear, get to the other end, do the same thing. Now all I got to do is, flick a button, flick a lever, It's really quick. Took a while, about 4 hours, but you know, not a horrible job. Gonna go for a rip. Even though my driveway's really not that bad right now with snow, it's bad enough. My back porch is worse. That'll need some shoveling. But my neighbor's is pretty bad. So I'm just gonna do us both a favor. And I'm bringing the tractor into town and we're gonna clear some stuff off. I guess the neighbors got theirs done this morning, but mine is still pretty bad.